Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the latest episode of Dogcast. We've got two guests tonight. So we've got current Leeds Rhinos player Richie Myler and his better half, TV presenter Helen Skelton. How are we doing, guys?
Hello.
Thanks for coming on.
Better
Obviously,
half.
the show.
A bit harsh.
Well, we both know it's true, mate.
True. It's probably true.
So obviously, you guys have had a difficult day on the red wine. How's lockdown treating you? Obviously, you've got two young boys. I think you're still working a bit, aren't you, Helen? And dealing with Dickie as well. So how's it going?
Do you know what? We've been so lucky because our kids are really outdoorsy. But the reason that we're having a glass of wine at bedtime tonight is because it's raining. So we've had to have them inside all day. And our kids are no good inside. So they were having a fight with a broom and a mop. And then they jumping off the couch. And I let them out for 5 minutes and they were so wild. I had to then subsequently make them write thank you notes to the neighbours because they're just wild out there.
They're absolutely mental. Like, I'm not actually just
and I
not sugarcoating it. They're mental.
I wouldn't have them any other way, but it's just they get up at 6 and by the time you get to 20 past 8, you're like, okay, I think we've earned a glass of wine.
Yeah, well, I have witnessed a bit of it. The odd couple of hours, I have witnessed the mayhem. But that's one thing that I was going to say. Obviously, from your Instagram, obviously you're not on much social media, dickhead. But from your Instagram and stuff, you are very active and you're outside. So how much of a godsend has this weather been for you guys?
Oh, our kids have been having the time of their lives. And Ernie's at that age where he could be back at school, but his reception class isn't opening. But honestly, if I said to him he had to go back to school, he'd be mortified, wouldn't he?
He misses his friends a little bit, but apart from that, he's like, this is the best ever.
He's living the dream. And we've been lucky because we've got a garden and because we've got the weather. It's been good. I feel for anyone who... I don't know how people are doing it who live in a flat. That must be so much respect if you live in a flat because it must be so hard to keep them entertained.
Yeah, well, that was me. I've ended up moving back with Dave Dwyer. Apartment, not a chance. Dickie knows how bad my apartment is. Bad at the times box in it.
No, there's bits of lockdown I've quite enjoyed. I mean, it's really I have so much sympathy for people who are struggling with work and not knowing what's going on. And obviously, we've got family who are like older, like your nan hasn't been out and stuff. Bless her, has she? So I have lots of sympathies for people, but we're in a lucky position where we've been able to enjoy the good bits, I think.
Apart from rugby, nothing's actually changed really for me. It's quite nice. Apart from missing not being around the lads and training, it's actually quite good being at home with the kids. But
you've not been here. You've been building a house.
To be fair, we're doing a house renovation as well, so I've just kind of sneak off there.
Well, that's one of my questions. How is the renovation going?
Long.
Richard's
stressful.
He's had a taste of real life, so. You go in the nicest possible way. Like, not saying rugby's not hard, but if you get home at 3 o'clock, it's a long day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. Can't argue with that one.
So you've been working on the house every day.
I'm sick to death of plaster. Absolutely sick to death of plaster, and all sorts of going on.
But you come in at 4 o'clock exhausted, don't you?
Yes, I can vouch you there, Dickie. I've been in the back garden, front garden of Dave Dwyer's Dwyer Landscaping.
I've seen that. It's looking good, actually. Has he got all fake grass in that down?
Yeah. Listen, we don't mess about, mate. We don't mess about. We've got to do it proper. It's like Love Island at the back. We've got lights and all that. So we're all sat round.
Dave Dwyer and Sue at Love Island having a chat on the bench.
Oh, don't. Let's not go into that. Let's move on to the next bit. So, talk us through how someone from Widnes playing Rugby League ends up with a TV presenter from Cumbria. How did it come about?
She chased me for ages.
Oh, you wish.
No. We had a mutual... You know
Simon Moran.
Yeah, Simon Moran's PA, really, Kimberly. She was Helen's friend from school. And yeah, we just ended up...
So
very long story, dog. I don't think
the potty version is Simon Moran, who owns Warrington. He employed my best friend, and she said to me, "Oh, yeah, I won't say how she described you, but anyway,
it was nice."
I could picture some words.
Yeah, no, yeah. let's just say we thought there would be a few dates. We didn't think there'd be nearly 10 years and 2 kids.
Yeah. And about 11 houses.
You didn't
I think we've had about 11 houses we've had as well in those 10 years, which has been fun.
Well, that's it. And you're on to your big project yet, the mansion, doing the mansion up from scratch.
Oh, it's not a mansion, thank God. It's actually quite a small house, which at one point I was like, I wish it was bigger, but I'm so glad. I wish it was half the size.
Mate, we've literally done it. The only thing that's left is probably the outside wall. That's it. And probably half of that's gone down.
So you are going to be, your lifestyle and stuff like that, you're going to be trying growing your own foods and living as eco-friendly as you can. So where is this come from your job, this, Helen, or? Because Dickie, I can't imagine Dickie being brought up eco-friendly from Widnes.
Widnes? Oh, come on. No.
Mate, the amount of pollution in Widnes. Come on, mate.
Whoa.
Our childhood was so different, weren't there? Yeah. I was brought up like on the edge of the Lake District. I saw you went up Hill Valley the other day.
Yeah, I did. I got up just about... How scary is that?
On the sharp edge bit, I know.
I couldn't believe it when we got there. I thought, this should come with a death warning, this. I swear to God.
I was buzzing you. So you'll have driven like past my parents' house because I grew up basically 20 minutes from there, didn't I? So outdoorsy, farming, all that. You had the opposite child, and I remember he had the opposite.
I was outdoors just because it wasn't up a fell. I was still outdoors.
But it's different, isn't it? Like
he was outdoors robbing shops.
But budding windows. It's pretty much in hedge hopping. You definitely did hedge hopping. When you were younger, you definitely did hedge hopping. Although,
yeah. Wigan is bad, mate, but it's probably one step up from Widnes. And I'm not even joking. Swear to God, I can give it Wigan, but Widnes is worse.
Don't say that because as it is, we're hardly allowed in Widnes. Remember when everyone jumped on top of the car? We were sat in your car and all the Widnes fans started jumping on top of
Oh, yeah, we got chased out of the stadium. They honestly and the kids were like, it was Ernie, we had Ernie, didn't we?
We've got lots of family in Widnes. So...
We're all right, we've been back since, we're all right since. But...
Yeah, but we lived, it was like a riot, wasn't it?
Who was it playing for then? Was it playing for Warrington?
I think you played for Warrington, yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, I was, because I was driving that yellow car with my name on it. Remember that yellow car he had? Do you remember that car?
Yeah, with all the blue writing on it.
What was that? What car was that? It was Hyundai yellow. It was like I don't know. It was awful. It had a big blue stripe through the middle of it, didn't it?
No, it was Anyways, loads of people jumping on the car. So Widnes give us enough views, so we can't say anything other than we love Widnes. But yeah, your childhood very different to mine. When we first got together, he was like, "Oh yeah, look, let's have horses when we're older. Let's have horses." And I said, "Only people who've never lived on a farm say let's get horses, like getting a goldfish."
You'll have to get a Shetland pony, you. That's one of the shops.
Yeah, hey, Alan's friend sells miniature ponies. She used to sell miniature ponies. You'll be all right. It'll be sweet.
No, so we bought the house. We've got a big garden. We want to do loads of gardening. You've been doing loads of gardening, haven't you?
Hey, wait till you see my garden. I'll send you a photo of my garden. It's coming on nice. Growing everything, dog. Well, lettuce, spinach, beetroot, carrots. What else you want? We're set for life.
You know, I would not eat any of that. No, I wouldn't. Grow me some beans, and that's about it.
I can't do. I've got to growing beans, but I can't do Heinz beans. I can't do that.
So Helen, obviously, growing up in the part of Cumbria, obviously rugby's quite big in parts of Cumbria. Did you hear about rugby league when you was a bit younger, or did you not have a clue until you met Dickie?
I still don't have a clue, dog. I
been together for 10 years. She doesn't have a clue what goes on the field. She just looks for boots.
That makes you sound wrong. No, that's an. But...
No, this is a true story. When we was at Warrington, Trent Waterhouse, obviously, you know Trent Waterhouse, back rower, obviously 7 foot odd, and me being a midget, defend next to each other, and she used to be like, "Oh yeah, I was watching. There's Rich there."
I used to get them confused.
How you get me and Trent Waterhouse confused, I do not know.
It's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger film twins.
Yeah. Hey.
I didn't. My brother plays football, or my brother used to play football, so I had no idea what rugby league was, and I still don't understand it. And I go to the game. You've seen me at games. I go to the games. I chase the kids. I have a glass of wine, and at the end, I say, "Who won?" And yeah, so I love the occasion, and I love how irrationally fantastic the fans are. Like, I love the sort of event of it, and I think it's hard to not get swept up in it all, but I wouldn't say I understand it. I mean, we could fill this podcast with times I've put my foot in it with people.
Yeah.
Like when I've said to Justin Horrell, "Oh, well done, you did well yesterday," and then he's like, "Yeah, you got taken off because he played badly. I think you're taking the mick." Or
no, the best one was Pat Richards.
I know what you're gonna say.
This is a good story, though. You'll like this one. So when we were in France in Catalan, we were
Don't go on, though. Do it.
No, we were really good friends with Pat Richards and his wife, and we went for dinner after one of the games. And I says, before I goes in, I says, "Listen, don't mention the game because it wasn't really a great game." And Paddy got the shepherd's hook from kicking because he missed a few.
No, he didn't say that.
No,
he didn't say that. He said, "Don't mention the game." Paddy got the shepherd's hook, and I was like, "Okay."
So that's all right. So that's what I said. So basically, don't say anything about the game. Gets in, sits down. First thing Helen goes, "Oh, well done, Paddy, shepherd's hook."
I thought it was an award.
I died in the chair, and then like his wife, I think, just went mental. She started laughing her head off, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm going outside."
I thought it was like the what's that thing you get in the Challenge Cup, the Lance Todd. So I was good, you got the shepherd's hook. Anyway, I don't fully understand. I think that's good. Nobody needs someone. You don't want to be the kind of partner, I don't think, that's like, "Oh, you should have done this and you should have done that."
Yeah, just leave him to it. I think he does enough of that himself, doesn't he? Let's move on to rugby, Dickie. Obviously, you played together at Warrington, and a part of that team at Warrington would have been, it was probably a team that coached itself, really, and probably suited you, the fact of the players that you had around you at that age and how much success you had from your support game and stuff like that. How much did that change when you moved to Catalan, and how much do you actually think you developed a more of a leadership role from being a part of that squad?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think, it's at Warrington, it was a big... there was a lot of big characters at Warrington, and like you say, it kind of run itself in the sense of the team was... You had players like us and Brazy and Adrian Moore. Everyone, you just kind of... You got swept along with it all, and you just rode like the roller coaster of it all, which was good. So when I had to go to Catalan, you had to try and come out of my comfort zone a little bit and have a bit of more of a, not a voice, because you know me, I've always had a voice, but I mean, I probably got a little more authority. You are.
While I was speaking about voices, I'll make sure you get the little clipping of your little French interview where you're speaking in French but in English.
Hey, I've told you many times what happens in that conversation. Hey, it's hard. It is hard. Hey, I've been talking Yorkshire before. How long have we got left?
Do you know that the French teacher, when we were in Catalan, she used to pull me over, because you had to have French every week, didn't you? And she used to pull me over because I speak a little bit of French. Well, yeah, a bit. And she used to go to me, "Oh, Richard's very, very naturally talented at French. He just doesn't commit to the language." And I was like, "I'm not his mum. Like, what do you think?" And she's like, "If he just commit to the language." And then he did that interview, and I was like, "Oh, I see what you mean. He's not."
No, the interview was the first day I got, like the first 2 days I was there, and I'd done. I'd meant to fight my own corner. I'd done 16 interviews with French people, and they all speak the way I.
We loved it, didn't we?
Yeah, the way I reiterated it back to them is how they ask you the question. So that's why I slowed it down so they understood what I was saying.
Yeah, I think you'll have done better than I would have done, mate. I can just imagine now. That's why Ellen will be doing so well with the homeschooling. She had so much practice in France, teaching you French.
Teaching me, yeah.
So then, obviously, you came to Leeds then, and we came at the same time. And it's safe to say it was difficult, the period that we've been there. So you got player of the year the first year, and then obviously the last year that we had the difficulties that we had then, people will be able to remember because it's a bit closer to. And a lot of pressure came down on the likes of me and you and the control that we had at times in games. And obviously Gailey coming in. The point I'm getting at now is how much you've worked this pre-season and together. Just talk about your mindset and how difficult that was for you, and just how you prepared for that, because you've started the season on fire, and like we've said, a lot of the boys in private meetings that we've had have give you raps on how you've dealt with that. So can you just give us a bit of an insight in that?
I think I think I've been around long enough. I'm 30 now.
He's too nice to say. Dog's too nice to say, but yeah, it must have been rubbish. But basically, he got
when I played
Gailey.
absolutely crap on Gailey's side. But I actually thought.
But look, I don't know what's going on, but she's doing all right for me.
But it's true, and I think what the team needed was, I think what was it? The first year we was there, I think I had maybe 4 halfback partners. I think it was in the first year, and then in the second year we probably had the same. So I mean, we're probably crying out for someone like Gailey to come in anyway.
Yeah.
And then obviously alongside when Rob's come in as well, I found it like a weight off the shoulders this year, in a sense of, because I know that the way that they play the game is very. Gailey's a brilliant player, and he's great the way he controls the team. So it took all the pressure off me for this year. I think this year was probably a bit different because obviously at the back end of last season, the way it was, obviously with Gailey coming in, and I could leave if I wanted to leave. For instance, I had a decision to make whether I stay and fight my corner and leave, or put myself in a position where I'm on good terms instead of just spit my dummy out and leaving. And I've never been someone to spit my dummy out. I've been around long enough to be in situations like that. So no, I like a challenge. I've always liked the challenge, and I saw it as that really. I think it's probably the best way to do it, because if I would have spat my dummy out, then it wouldn't have got me anywhere really. I would have had to go somewhere else, and it would have been things. So
what I'd give you both credit for, and as I say, I don't know anything about rugby, but I know enough about what goes on behind the scenes. Like, my brother's been in sport forever. I'd give you two both credit for. There's probably been times when you both could have spat your dummy, thrown your toys out of the pram, but people decide whether to. I think you two, because you can't say too much, because obviously this is for public ears, but you two could have had a tantrum, but you didn't. You chose to work hard and knuckle down and be grateful for what you've got. And I respect you both for that.
But I also think that's being in situations that we've been in before. I think you understand. You see other people do it the wrong way, and you see how. At the end of the day, we all play the game just to be respected by who we play with. At the end of the day, you're not bothered about what you want your teammates to think. Oh, he's a good player, or he helps the team out. You don't want to be the person who's in the headlines. Well, that's what I've always thought it was. And
I think there's a big lesson in that as well. And you probably, when you get a bit older, you start realising, especially when you get some of the young boys trying to make the way, and I want to play this position, I want to nail this position. I think you just realise to play for a club like Leeds, to do a job in any position, you appreciate that anyway, wouldn't you? And you go out there and do it, and the next thing you know, you're in mixer in washing machine doing.
I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, oh, okay. But I sat with Richard at the beginning of the season. He went, right. I think we've got 2 first choice halves that we've got, so we'll probably look at playing in a couple of different positions. And I was just like, right, okay. So I was looking down the list. I was thinking, I'm going to end up like covering Dog or covering Cruz at some point. I was just thinking, my shoulders are going to fall. I'm getting too old for this. But I actually enjoy it. Like, but then it's totally different, because then going from 9 to fullback is a completely different game again. Because you don't do any tackling, but you run another like 5K. So
it's crazy, and we all know you want the ball whenever you can get the ball, so you'll be running around like an headless chicken trying to get it.
It suits me.
We'll push us on to the next bit. You touched on Ellen, about obviously you see the tough stages of it when he comes home and he probably vents on you. So how difficult, you can give us a good insight here, because not many fans will see these conversations. And how difficult is it for you to deal with the pressures that any woman would have with the partner coming home from work, but how difficult is it with him being a rugby player and the stresses that it does bring home?
I think, and it's not stressful, because I think you're very good at always seeing I think you're very measured, and probably because, like you say, you've done it for so long, you're always very grateful to play for a club like Leeds and to be part of it and to still be playing, because like lockdown, like we just joked about before, is giving you a massive perspective in like what it's like to do a real grafting job. Like, you've been labouring on the house every day, and like you say, it kind of makes you appreciate work and rugby more. I think probably when you're a partner of anyone, you feel it more sometimes than they do. Like, it'd be wrong to say I don't worry sometimes for you, but for me, I just like it when you're enjoying yourself and you're enjoying the team and playing and all the rest of it. And I mean, as I say, I don't know anything about how you play, but all I know is you love playing rugby, and that's all you seem to want to do.
I think when I was early on when we were going out, I think I had more.
You've changed since we had the kids.
Yeah, before we had the kids, I reckon I'd be hell bent watching the game for hours after a match, but without it, you don't. Once you have funny, once you have kids, you can't not have sleep. So I mean, you kind of. And they put a lot of things in perspective as well. When you come home, they're not bothered if you've had a rubbish game or if you've not. So you kind of, in a way, it helps. And it's
have kids. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Take stress off.
No, it adds a whole new level of stress.
But it takes the stress away because you're right. Like you can finish your game and you can be in one, but you can't be in one around the kids.
Yeah, true.
And to be fair to you, Dog, whenever people ask me what you're like, I always say, oh, well, if I'm looking at the end of the game with kids running in opposite directions, you're the one person who'll take one of them from me. And I watched you once take Louis from me in your face. You were like, do you want me to take him? And I was like, yeah. And you were like, oh, shit.
I'm still not going to clue. So, yeah, I have to find. I've got my dogs. I can just about manage with my dogs. So we'll not rush into the kids thing yet. And I know you spoke quite a bit personally as well, Ellen, about the difficulties. Obviously, you're from Cumbria. You work all over the country. Dickie's from Widnes. He's played at Warrington and Catalan. The difficulty that you find moving around and getting close to families, like I said, Pat Richards and other couples in France. How difficult is that to move around and get close to people, and then within the switch of a light switch, really, you're moving somewhere totally different and starting it all over again?
I think, yeah, that is hard. I'm not going to lie. I think sometimes people think if you're English, you live near your family, but we've never lived near family. And we lived in Wilmslow, then we lived in Warrington, then we went to France, then we came here. And I think when we came to Leeds, everyone assumed that we'd know loads of people and have loads of friends. But actually, Leeds was our hardest move, I think, for us as a family, because we're not from here. We don't know anyone. I had 2 babies, so you're kind of in that weird no man's land where, and it sounds really matter, but you don't have any mates because, I wasn't at work. The kids weren't in school. And whereas at least when you're at Catalan, there's a small group of families and you're together all the time. And I think sometimes that's maybe what people outside of the immediate team don't get. Like maybe fans maybe find it hard sometimes to get that we're moving our lives around all the team just for the chance to be part of a team, and you're giving it everything. And yeah, I mean, this is the first time we're going to hope to, whatever happens with you and clubs, we're going to try and stay in Leeds for a bit as a family, just because our kids have got mate. Every time when players leave clubs, I'm sorry. I was really sorry for Leeds Rhinos when Joel left, but I was more gutted because Angus left. Like Ernie was devastated. And I found I go to loads of games with the kids, but I said, oh, Sophie Watkins, can you please come back? Because if other people go with kids, it makes it easier. And this year, none of them have got kids, Brad.
Yeah.
And what about you, Dickie? Do you find that? Because I've not had to. I can still go and see my mates from Warrington who I've played with all the way through. I'm still knocking around my mates from Leeds. But what about you, the likes of people you've met in Catalan and some of the older boys at Warrington?
Yeah.
Do you find the same?
You know, it's like yourself when you move clubs. Not in the nicest possible way. You're not forced, but you're made to make friends with 25 new people when you walk into a changing room, and that's the way. You're all on that same time scale, and you're all on that same, you're all on the same time scale. You all have to bond together. You all have to make the effort together, and you end up distancing yourself from. You know what I mean? If there's 25 people in a team, you're not going to be best friends with all of them. It's just physically impossible. But you're all friends and stuff. But there's certain people you keep more in contact with than others, and I think that you say when we went to France, it was so unique because you was involved with everybody because you had to literally live. You had no one else. So obviously with Sam Mower and Jodie Broughton and Greg Bird and all them, I was with them every single day and with their families every single day. So it was kind of. And
you're all in a unique situation where you don't have anyone else. So literally, you'd I mean, we would have tea probably with Jodie and Greg 3 or 4 nights a week because none of you's got anyone else.
Yeah, I remember that time. Yeah, Greg once rocked up with all his groceries, didn't he?
Greg Bird and Becky Bird, he literally, like, be on the way back from the shops, and just come to our house and put all the groceries in the fridge and then start making dinner. That kind of environment.
I was like, oh yeah, I'll have tea.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when
that's. Oh, I'm sorry, Ellen.
I was just going to say, when the Australian girls move to Leeds, they must think I'm really keen, because as soon as they move, I'm like, oh, do you need friends? Do you want to hang out? Like us.
But that's got a good group at the moment, and I saw it, and I said it to the boys the other day, like Comrade, Welly when he was here, and Reese, like they're all in the same boat, and I think it's nice to see how close they do get in a community, and I think that's good for our group as well, because it just makes everyone that bit happier, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Dickie, you might as well go and put washing on, lads, because we're done with you. I'm only joking. I want to
red. I'm enjoying my red.
Yeah. This is a big night for us. We'll have one glass and that's it.
We're snoring away, yeah, Dickie.
I hardly don't need this with the kids. Honestly, it gets to like 9:30. We're like, should we put something on the telly? We're both like, should we just go to bed?
Right, Red. So it's just been heard. It's just finished. The Celebrity SAS Who Dares wins. First of all, I'm really jealous. I've been watching it for years and really wanted to have a go. I think
the mental capacity to do it, mate. There's too many things going on up there.
Dickie, I'd do it early in my shoe, lad.
Too many days.
Yeah, I'm always
players. I
do think I would struggle with that side of it. What was your overall opinion of it all, and did you learn anything from doing it, Helen?
I think you two hit the nail on the head there. The physical side is hard, but that's not the worst bit. The worst bit is the mental side, because you only see us going to that mirror room for interrogation once or twice, but you're in there every day. Like, the murder ball thing that we did, I misunderstood it. I thought it was rugby, and I kept going,
rubbing your hands.
Defend the line. And I flipped a girl over and I had her like down on the floor, and they were all taking the mick out of me because they were like, flipping heck, she's the smallest, but she's the most mental. And I thought, if I don't do this properly, I'll never be able to show my face in front of you lot again. That's what I was thinking. But the hardest thing is the mental side, because you never know when they're going to interrogate you. You never know when they're going to grill you. And I mean, they go at it. Like, they kept getting me in the mirror room. They're like, I bet you manipulate men and play blokes off against each other. And I was like, no, I don't.
That's crazy. You don't see any of that. And like you did say, that's the probable bit that how frustrated was you at the end? Obviously, I watched the final episode again today, knowing that we was doing this. Because obviously, being female...
Can we talk about her creeping away with the blindfold on?
That was the most funniest thing. The geezers just ran, just looking at each other, laughing. I was like, "Oh yeah!" And then next minute, just ran off.
Where were you going? Where were you going?
What's going on?
In my head, I'd worked out how to get over the fence, because every time you went to the toilet, you could see how to get over the fence. I thought, if I can just get over that fence, I am out of here. Yeah, I know. The interrogation, but so much going on. You've got, like, because you've been up all week. Like, you never sleep when you're there. Even when they were waking us up at 3 a.m. to do exercises, every night, what you never see on the program is we're all doing Watchtower. So you only sleep for 2 hours max at a time. So you've never slept. So you're totally sleep deprived, which makes everything feel worse. I just had a day where it was my turn to get like, oh, you're rubbish at this, when you're a bit like, what? I don't know if I've done anything wrong. Like the water thing, you're thinking, I've not done it any different, but it's your turn to get yelled at. And then interrogation, I'd given up like bits, but I didn't realise how long we'd been in there. We've been in there 12 hours. So when they gave up everything, and in my defence, Lockie was so ill, like he was shaking and that, I thought, nah, I'm not believing him. They've cracked him. And they'd said to us in the briefing, they'll try and make you think that the others have cracked. They'll try and make you sign stuff, shake hands, say yes or no, and they'll make you think that others have cracked. And when they said to me, Lockie had cracked, I thought, oh no, this is a trick. Had they said to me, Lauren had cracked, I would have gone, yeah, you're right. But yeah, I just mistimed it. You're so confused by that point, because you've got no idea who's left in it.
Yeah. Dickie, how did you find it? I presume you've watched it back. How did you find it? Because there's one point where the big bald geezer throws water in your face, and I was just like, it's a bit rum that. So how did you? No, you would never.
To be honest, I was just proud of her because I was thinking I couldn't have stood there and let someone do that to me. I'd have ended up snapping. Or I would have snapped a long time ago. I would have just like, there's no way. Imagine you would have snapped. Imagine if someone said something to you. What you'd have just gone. Ah! So you just couldn't. I would have snapped a long time ago. So I was just like, how you've held your nerve, I don't know. But no, that
wasn't the worst bit. It wasn't the interrogators. But when you stood in those stress positions, and you got the headphones on. Their headphones were so loud of like screeching noises in your ears, not uninterrupted for 12 hours. Yeah. And so that's what is driving you crazy. And they kept kneeing you in the back and like moving your body, and like it was so painful. It was so painful. I remember at one time I said I started to shout out, "This is a telly programme, you're going way too far, you can't even do this."
Oh, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, that's what I said. They were like, "Hey, shut the F up," and I was like, I didn't sign up for this. You're not going to get a recommission if you treat people like this.
So would you say that you learned anything from it, Ellen? And obviously one thing that you probably got through it, me and Dickie can speak about, the camaraderie that they speak about. That's probably what we have in a group, and going through pre-season and performing together and going through highs and lows together. That's probably the one thing that we're going to miss when we finish. So do you reckon you had some of that with that group that you went into SAS with?
Definitely, 100%. Like you've really, because normally I work on my own. Like I'm a telepresenter and I'll rock up at a project and I'll do it for a few weeks and then I do something else, don't I? And he always laughs at me because he's like, "Oh, who's at your Christmas party?" Because I work on my own, I'm self-employed. So for me, it was the worst thing when I first walked up, and what made me nervous was I didn't really know how to fit into that group because, like Lockie was the cool one and Nikki was a sexy one and Tony was like the force, whereas I'm not normally in a group like that. But by the end of it, the last 6 of us, especially like Tony, Lockie, Joey, Nikki, Lauren, and me, it was sort of us 3 it was 6 for like the last few days, and we all stayed in it for each other 100%. Like Joey got me through sometimes, but then he's told people I got him through sometimes, or like Nikki. Do you know? It was weird. I didn't think that's what I'd get out of it, but I definitely did.
So Joey Essex, is he that much of a Doyle in real life, or does he put it on?
I don't think he puts it on.
You said
he's not. He's definitely very smart. He definitely knows what he's doing. But he's just from, Joey Essex and Tony Bellew are from like the opposite ends of the spectrum. So to have those two in a room together all the time was just...
I think someone said about, like, you talked about the camaraderie of like, we've grown up in that kind of environment for so long. Like that's what we've grown up with, people taking the absolute mick out of each other and it not being like, no one takes it to heart or no one takes these emotion. It's just that's what happens. I think some people probably didn't grow up in that environment.
Yeah, because Jack Maynard, who's lovely, but he was in the early days, he kept trying to leave, and like he was just like, I want to see the doctor, like I want to go, and I was like, no. And every 2 minutes, Tony Bellew would go to him, "Come on, shit brick," and like. Obviously, to him, that's an endearing term, but like to Jack just looked terrified. He's a blogger from West London, and he's got this world champion boxer from one of the harshest bits of Liverpool calling him all these nicknames. And like one day they looked at Jack and he went, "Flipping heck, Jack, your hairdo looks like there's an explosion gone off in your head." Jack looked like he was about to cry, and I was like, "No, Jack, that's them. That means they like you. That's fine."
Yeah, reassuring him. See, on the last bit that I'll pick up on that was what your VT when you speak about kids and how nice of a moment that was. So how much of a motivation, obviously they're a massive motivation for you, but how much of a motivation was it being female and thinking, "Oh, I'm going to really prove a point here"? I've got, like you said, you speak about Dickie being so macho. I wouldn't say
where you got that from? You see me.
Joe sport. So how much was there? Obviously, it's really big at the moment, like people talking about equal rights and stuff. How much have you wanted to prove a point, really, and was determined in that way?
I think, if I'm honest, that's part of the reason me and Nikki kept our heads down. Like, I think sometimes if you're like an outdoorsy girl and you're into that sort of stuff, sometimes people assume that you want to, like, you know, burn bras and like be down with men and all that, and we're not. Like, I'm not. Like, I wanted to do something to be proud of, to make the kids proud, and think that it was cool. Like, we haven't let them see lots of it, but the bits they did see, they thought was cool, didn't they? And I was like, for a mum, that's the ultimate thing. Like, if I've gone to work and I've done something decent, then yeah, that's why I did it. But it's really weird in that environment, because obviously it is a real alpha male environment. You're consciously trying to be like, I don't hate men. I'm not trying to prove a point. I'm just trying to prove something to myself. Like, this isn't anything about you, Aunt Middleton. Like, because they are terrifying. People keep saying, no, they're nicer off camera. No, it's worse. I was just like, I couldn't even look at them.
So the game that you played with the title, what's that called again?
Murder? No, was it Murder Ball? I don't think.
Well, what it was, who do you reckon would win out of you two, Dickie?
Helen.
100%.
Tell him about boxing. Tell him about boxing.
What?
When I was training for the boxing.
No, because I don't think that can't be heard to everybody.
When I did last year, I did a charity boxing thing, and all the other celebrity boxers trained in like a gym in Chelsea. I trained in Bermontoffs. So obviously Bermontoffs is quite hardcore. And Phil, he was an absolute legend, wasn't he? Like, he was so good. They treated me so good, like trained me. I was training with European champions and all sorts. So we were in the kitchen one night and I said, come on, let's spar. So, like, I hit him and he hit me.
No way. You can't. That's going to have to come out, Dickie Myler, eh?
No, that's not what happened. I had the mitts on and I says, right, do 1, 2, and then I'll swoop over and get you. And as I went 1, 2, she went straight for my chin. So I swooped and I caught the top of her head.
Well, that's it. You've got to learn to learn a valuable lesson there. That's what it is, isn't it?
I was just preparing her for what was coming. But what did happen was gloves came off, thrown on the floor. You've gone too far. Walked off. That was me. That was me, not her.
To be fair, though, can I throw one thing in about the SAS thing? Because I don't have a lot of time to train because of the kids and work and all the rest of it. So Blackie was an absolute, your physio was an absolute conditioner. He was an absolute legend. He sent me a program, didn't he? He was brilliant. He sent me a program and I did. The only thing that I didn't do that he told me to do was the ice baths. And if I'd have done that, I wouldn't have found the water unnerving.
That's it. You might have won it if you'd have done that.
I know. Damn.
Who knows? Obviously, recent times, the death last week in America, I think it's something that I want to speak about. Look, you guys don't have to speak about it if you don't want to. And yesterday, so today's Wednesday, yesterday was the Blackout Tuesday. And it really opened my eyes to how naive I'd been to racism, really. So I just thought that it was something I'm going to speak about on here. And just because we have got a small platform that as rugby players we can speak about, and this is going out on Leeds' platform. So I just think, and from me, the thing that I got from Blackout Friday was to just actually take a step back and realise that I hadn't really been educated. I was a bit naive to it. I hadn't done anything wrong. It was just I hadn't been educated. So to just go out there and educate myself, and I think there's been a lot of shame in going on saying, "Oh, you're not posting this, you're not posting that," or it's not enough to just post a black post. You've got to also go and be anti-racist. But I just think you've got to get your own house in order and control what's around you and just make sure the people around you aren't doing it. So that was just my piece on it, really. I don't know if you guys have been affected by the news that you've seen.
I think for us, we found, it's hard because people use this word uncomfortable like it's a shaming word. And there's nothing wrong with saying you're uncomfortable. I wasn't uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable because I was trying to weigh up, what do we say to the kids? Like, our kids are little, but at the same token, I think it's important because, like, there are protests, there's fear, there's riots, there's upset and there's hurt and there's hate. And it would be wrong for us to sweep it under the carpet and put it in a box in history and move on from it. I think that it's important not only to educate ourselves, but to educate our kids. So I think the thing that made me uncomfortable is trying to strike the right balance of really using this as an opportunity to embrace and excite and sort of lap up everybody's difference. And it is difficult because we're never going to understand because we're white, and we're never going to fully understand. And I think that's what makes us uncomfortable talking about it. But, you know, a lot of our friends are black, and Yasmin Evans, who's on Radio 1, said to me yesterday, she was like, don't ever feel uncomfortable talking about it and asking questions, because that's what's gone wrong, is that people are a bit like, oh, don't say anything because it's awkward.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned, is that it's not a black. This is one that I've seen today. It's like, it's not a black problem. It's probably a white problem. It is the fact that you wasn't educated, because it's never affected you, so you've never had to deal with it. So you didn't think it was a problem. So I think that is definitely the biggest thing that I've learned, is that if we don't start educating ourselves, nothing will ever change for anyone really. And I was naive that it actually happened. And when you video, it's like, is this actually going on? And it's crazy, really, to think that it is. What about you, Dickie? Have you got any thoughts on it?
I think what Helen just mentioned then about, I think the best thing that we can do, like what we can do, is the thing is, we, like I said, we're always encouraging the kids that everyone's different, no matter no matter what. If you're black, if you're disabled, if you've got some sort of any sort of difference that people have got. We try and say that there's a lot of people that are different in the world, and everyone's just as equal, and everyone's just as the same. And I think that's, for us, that's us doing, that's as much as, I don't know how to say, as much as we can do, in the sense of, that's the way we live our lives, and that's how we want our kids to live their lives. So I think as long as we keep doing that and trying to be supportive to whatever else is there.
I think, like, Brad, you were like gobsmacked when you saw that footage, weren't you?
You could, like you said, I think like anybody was. I don't think anyone could actually believe that was what we were witnessing on the thing. But in the same token, to many people around the world, they're probably more norm to that. They probably see that as more of a, like, There
was a brilliant.
It probably didn't shock some people in the world as much as it shocked me, and that is down to not being educated enough and not understanding what it is. So maybe this will make everyone be more educated on what's actually out there.
To that, and on that note, I think we'll finish. I think that the last question I've got for you, Helen, is: does that mean that now I can have a Blue Peter badge? Because I've been asking Dickie for 8 years now, as long as I've known him.
No. You could have had one. You could have had one a long time ago when we did a kicking drill.
But I knew you got to this, but I didn't because you didn't like me.
No. You could have had one, because I invited everybody, and you didn't turn up. So there was James Laithwaite. There was, who else was there? Steph was there. Steph Ratchford was there. There was about 4 people that did kicking, and you always loved kicking, but you had to go home. So you were invited to do one.
Listen, you invited me earlier to take some glass out of your new house, and I said I'd turn up. So if I was going to get a Blue Peter badge, I think I'd have turned up to kicking, mate.
Yeah. You, I'm sure I've got one. I'm sure I've got one in the cupboard somewhere. You can have one, dog. You, Mum.
That's a false promise if I've ever heard one. Right, thank you very much, guys. You've had a hectic day, and to spur an hour for me. So thank you very much, and look after yourselves.
Well done. Keep up the good work.
See you, pal.